Why James Drury didn't go to Doug McClure's funeral. James Drury was born as James Child Drury on April 18, 1934, in New York City. Even though he was born in busy New York, James didn't stay there long as a kid. His family had strong connections to ranch life in Oregon. It was on his grandparents' ranch where young James fell in love with the land, horses, and the tough outdoor life that would help him later in his most famous acting roles. By the time he became a teenager, he was already living like a real cowboy. He became really good at riding horses and had that genuine cowboy feel that made him different from other actors when Hollywood noticed him. When James was in school, you could see he was interested in acting and performing. After finishing high school in Los Angeles, he went to study at New York University, where he learned about drama and got better at acting. He was serious about acting from the very beginning. He didn't just want to act in a role, he wanted to become the character completely, with real depth and honesty. This serious attitude helped people notice him early on, and got him small parts in movies during the 1950s, including appearances in westerns and adventure, movies that fit perfectly with what he was naturally good at. Even though his career started with smaller supporting roles in movies like Love Me Tender in 1956, which starred Elvis Presley, and Bernadine in 1957. It was television that really made James Drury famous. In 1962, he got the part as the main character, whose name was never told, in NBC's groundbreaking Western TV show, The Virginian. This role became the thing he was most known for, and one of the most important performances in the history of Western TV shows. For almost 10 years, from 1962 to 1971, Drury played the strong, quiet ranch boss who earned respect with his calm strength, good morals, and strong sense of right and wrong. Unlike many other Western heroes back then, the Virginian was special because his real name was never told, which made the character mysterious and timeless. Drury's acting captured what the classic American cowboy was all about: tough, loyal, and completely independent, while also adding human touches that made audiences feel connected to him. The show itself was unique and revolutionary. The Virginian was one of the first TV series to run as a 90-minute weekly show, basically making a full-length Western movie every single week. Drury had the energy and screen presence to handle this tough schedule, appearing in almost every single episode. His performance was the foundation of the series, which became a regular part of American TV and is still loved by Western fans today. Working alongside talented actors like Doug McClure, Lee J. Cobb, and later Clu, Drury helped make The Virginian one of the longest-running Westerns in TV history. His work on the show made him one of television's true cowboy legends. Drury's career kept going with roles in other TV shows and movies after The Virginian ended, but it was clear that his legacy was already set in stone. He accepted his place in TV history with pride, becoming a beloved figure at Western film festivals all across the country. He often said that playing The Virginian was more than just acting in a role, it was a responsibility, and he worked hard to make sure that the character represented the values of honesty, fairness, and strength that audiences looked up to. After The Virginian, James Drury continued acting in film and television, taking on roles in projects like Gunsmoke, Rawhide, and feature films alongside some of the industry's biggest stars. However, it was his signature role that defined his whole career. Unlike many actors who got angry about being typecast, Drury embraced his legacy. He understood that audiences loved him for what he brought to The Virginian, and he carried that identity with pride for his whole life. His appearances at Western film festivals, fan gatherings, and television retrospectives in later years showed how grateful he was toward the fans who had supported him for decades. On February 7, 1957, James Drury got married for the first time to Crystal Owens, a marriage that brought him both happiness and responsibility. Together, they had 2 sons, Timothy and James III, who would carry on the Drury family name. While Drury was dealing with the growing demands of his acting career, especially as he started building his reputation in television and film, he was also learning about the challenges and rewards of being a father. Timothy and James III were the center of his life during these early years, keeping him grounded while dealing with the fast pace of Hollywood life. Even though their marriage seemed promising at first, James and Crystal faced problems that eventually couldn't be fixed. After 7 years together, the couple decided to separate, making their divorce official on November 23, 1964. A few years later, Drury found love again. On April 27, 1968, he married Phyllis Jacqueline Mitchell, starting a new chapter in his personal life. This time period happened during the height of his fame, as the Virginian was at the peak of its popularity, and Drury was a household name. The marriage lasted for over 10 years, during which time Phyllis shared in the excitement and pressures that came with being married to a famous television star. However, like many marriages that are affected by the stress of public life and personal differences, theirs eventually ended. On January 30, 1979, Drury and Phyllis officially got divorced, closing another chapter in his journey through love and relationships. Drury's third and final marriage brought him perhaps the deepest and most lasting partnership of his life. On July 30, 1979, only months after his second divorce, he married Carl Ann Head. Unlike his earlier marriages, this relationship would last not just years, but decades, proof of the strong bond they shared. For 40 years, Carl Ann stood by his side, giving him stability, love, and companionship, long after the Hollywood spotlight had faded. Their marriage survived every good time and bad time, including Drury's change from leading man fame to a quieter, more private later life. Sadly, Carl Ann passed away on August 25, 2019, leaving Drury a widower after a lifetime of devotion. Her death marked the end of their long journey together, and Drury himself would die less than a year later. Drury's family went beyond his biological children. Through his marriages, he became a stepfather, taking on the role with warmth and dedication. He had 3 stepchildren, whom he came to care for deeply, a stepdaughter, Rhonda Brown, and 2 stepsons, Frederick Drury and Gary Scher. Though not related by blood, James formed lasting bonds with them, offering the support and love of a father figure. These relationships added depth and richness to his family life, showing how important he thought connection and loyalty were. Among his children, Drury's son, Timothy, became very successful in the world of music, creating a path of his own outside of acting. Timothy Drury became a highly respected keyboardist, guitarist, and singer, building a distinguished career in rock music. He played with some of the most legendary bands of that time, including the Eagles and Whitesnake, both of which are celebrated worldwide for their contributions to rock history. Timothy's accomplishments were a source of pride for James, a reminder that talent and creativity ran strong in the Drury family, even if it was expressed in different ways. While James made his mark on the screen, Timothy carried the family name into the world of music, achieving recognition on his own and making sure that the Drury legacy extended beyond acting into another creative area. Through his marriages, children, and stepchildren, James Drury's personal life showed the complexity of a man who lived fully both in public and private. His family in its various forms remained a central part of his story, weaving together a legacy of love, struggle, and accomplishment that lasted far beyond his Hollywood career. When James Drury, best remembered for his role as the stern yet fair title character in the long-running Western series The Virginian, was asked why he had not gone to the funeral of his longtime co-star and friend, Doug McClure, who played the easygoing Trampas, his answer was both heartfelt and deeply revealing about the way he handled grief and personal loss. Drury's explanation gave insight into his personality, his respect for privacy, and how intense the bond was that he shared with McClure, a bond that couldn't be defined by a single ceremonial farewell. Drury once explained, "I didn't go to Doug's funeral because I don't believe in saying goodbye that way." This statement showed his belief that funerals, while important for many people, were not always the best place to express or deal with personal grief. He admitted that he found public mourning to be overwhelming and even strange compared to the way he chose to honor those he had loved and lost. For Drury, grief was something personal and sacred, not to be put on display in a crowded room filled with acquaintances, reporters, and Hollywood watchers. He preferred to hold on to his private memories rather than put himself through the spectacle that often came with the funerals of well-known actors. He went on to add, "I said my goodbyes to Doug in my own way, and I'll carry him with me for the rest of my life." This showed not that he didn't care, but the opposite, a lifelong commitment to keeping his friend's spirit alive. Their partnership on The Virginian had lasted nearly 10 years of television, with Drury's serious Virginian character balancing McClure's light-hearted off-camera. Their friendship was like this dynamic too. Drury admired McClure's humor, his ability to cheer up everyone around him, and his unshakable optimism, even when